Weird ways Europe messes up American bodies. Huh? Weird ways Europe messes up Americans' bodies. I'm getting this one from Wolters World. Link in the description below. Please go over and show him some love. Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Let's get into this video because this is an interesting title. Here goes right about now. This is so pretty. Woo! Nice. Okay.
Hey there, fellow American travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here in Genoa, Italy, and today I want to talk about is something serious for my American travelers, and that is how your body is going to react mentally and physically to visiting Europe. Because you know what? There's things that change when you go travel. There's things you notice, things that wear you down or hype you up when you go, and I think...
Oh, my word. That is magnificent. That is...
There's things that change when you go travel. There's things you notice, things that wear you down or hype you up when you go. And I think it's important for you to have an idea of some of the things that might affect you here, and way down below when you come to Europe. And I'm going to start with the things about that happen to you down below. And that is be ready for different bowel movements. Yes, after a lifetime of eating ultra-processed food and fast food in America, when you come to Europe, we have significantly more, less refined food, more whole foods out there, less GMOs. I mean, just look at the ingredients list on your favorite food at home and then compare it to here. When you find it, your body processes things differently. So be ready for a slight difference in the consistency of your movements and also the frequency of your movements. So be ready for that, because that's one of the things people don't realize is when you change what you're eating, the water you have and stuff, it can have an impact. So maybe you do carry some Pepto with you or some Imodium just in case, because sometimes it's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, like the way the gluten is or the sulfites with the wine or lack of sulfites in the wine actually make you feel better instead of worse. So do be aware of that. But I will tell you, sometimes you might go from logs to toothpaste and not even realize it. Okay. Now, another thing I think Americans need to realize.
Interesting. But I think the way he stated it, I'm like, huh? But then it makes sense, because guess what? You're not putting all this crap in your body when you get there. So your body, the way your body processes and pushes it out, you understand? It's trying to push out all that bad stuff that you already have in your system and making way for the good stuff that you're putting in. If you guys understand what I'm saying.
This is one a lot of them complain about when I think of the physical pain I have when I go to Europe are your hurt feet. Yes, your feet do hurt when you're here. I mean, think about it. You're maybe walking 2,000 steps a day when you're at home, or 5,000 steps a day when you're at work. Or maybe you walk the dog, you to 8,000 steps a day. Now you're walking 10 hours a day, 20,000 steps, 10 miles, 16 kilometers, whatever. And you're not used to that. And so your feet ache, your legs ache, you get shin splints, you sprain your ankle. These kind of things do happen. That's why it's really important to help alleviate that. Make sure before you go to Europe, you're doing long walks. You're getting used to being outside and walking a lot. And I know Europeans are like, Wolters is telling them to train how to walk. Americans don't know how to walk.
Nope.
Yes, we know how to walk. We just don't walk like you do in Europe with uneven pavements and all kinds of stuff. So we're trying to get you ready so you don't have those painful feet. I want to tell you, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they get new shoes before they come to Europe because they're like, I'm going to walk a lot, so I need to make sure I have good walking shoes. You better make sure you have broken those shoes in before you come, because nobody wants blisters and stuff and you're going to be walking that much, all right? So painful feet, another part of doing it.
So I was going to say that make sure you have the right shoes. Don't run out and buy a new sneakers. If you have a good walking shoes, pack that in your suitcase, because it's already broken in. Not only that, listen, Americans don't walk a lot. So, of course, Europe is going to mess an American up, that body up, because of the main fact that everywhere an American is going, majority of the time they jump in a vehicle, they're riding somewhere, they hardly walk. I doubt a typical American get at least 4,000 steps in per day. You're at work, depending on the work that you're doing, majority of the time people are sitting down, they hardly move around. And then you leave your work, you jump in your car, you drive, you're going to the supermarket, you drive, you're going down the block, you drive. Americans don't really walk a lot. And when I noticed that about the European region, you guys are fit. Is either biking, you're walking constantly. You're getting your body look good and firm up and all these things from all this walking. And I think that is amazing. And even if there's trail and even if the people hardly walk, they have to, it seems like they have to be told or something has to be wrong for them to start walking constantly. That's how I see it with an American. But yeah, European regions, you guys are known for walking. And that's pretty cool.
But the thing is I'm going through these like bad things like sprained ankles and hurt feet and weird pooping. But also there's the good physical effects of going to Europe is you might notice your belt and your pants fit a little bit better. Yes, with all that walking, more of the, I would say, healthier food options. I'm sure some of you do healthy food all the time, blah, blah, blah. But I'm getting honest with you. With all that walking, all that movement, you know, you're not snacking as much because you're seeing things. You might notice that your waistline gets a little bit thinner while you're here. You're like, oh, I'm a bit more European. Can't you tell? Because I'm so much more fit and trim now. I mean, it sounds silly, but I can't tell you how many of our fans have written us, Mark, I just spent 2 weeks in Europe. I lost 10 pounds. I mean, it happens because of all that exercise. So there are some good physical things that are out there. And also, if we think about mental benefits as well that hit you, is I find that Americans really enjoy the fact that when they come to Europe, they get a chance to actually mentally relax. Because it takes longer to eat here. You're not like going to a restaurant, they're forcing the food down, getting your order right away, giving your food right away. Okay, get out of here right away. You get to take time and relax and do things. It's much more calmer life. And so therefore, it's a little bit easier to relax. That's why I tell people, if you're stressed out, you want to go on vacation, don't go to Orlando. Don't go to New York City. You're going to be even more stressed out. Come to Europe. Take your time when you're here because they're going to force you to take your time because they're not going to be in a hurry as well. So if you get past the frustration of slowness, then it really is a lot easier to relax here. And that can be very helpful because all those longer meals.
Look, that is so amazing. Less stress, less things to think about. Listen, when he said if you can get out of the stress of waiting for a longer period of time, then you'll be okay. No, you're trying to get away from stress. Listen, Americans on a whole, it is so true. I'm one of them too, who go in the restaurant, rushing to eat, because even before you're done eating, yesterday morning, prime example, I'm halfway in my meal and my ticket came to me for me. They said, oh, not to rush or anything, but your bill is here whenever you're ready. And I'm like, you just put my plate in front of me. It popped in my head because from watching all these videos, it dawned on me. I'm like, it's so obvious now when I look at it, like it's literally pushing me out the door because of how many tables they can turn over for the tip that they're getting. So you're eating fast. There's no time to slow down and enjoy what you're eating. It's just the norm in here in America. And I can understand it's a slower pace in the European region. You just have to slow down and, enjoy your food. And it's not going to come, as you order it, it's not going to run out onto your plate, come to the table. And that to me makes sense. And it's less stress. You just wrap back, relax, enjoy, savor every bite that you're taking, and just enjoy the moment and the atmosphere, the slower pace of life. That definitely will mess up an American who is not used to it.
And longer walks, calmer evenings really can actually help sleep even better. I mean, once you get past that jet lag at the beginning, then you sleep really good when you are here with all that. So that's nice. Another kind of mental struggle I think Americans have that they maybe don't say anything about right away, but they notice when they're there is just the struggle with personal space. Like in the U.S., we like our big bubble. But some places in Europe, you're literally this close to people all the time. And that's one of the things that sometimes mentally some Americans have a really tough time with. So just be ready for that. When you're on public transportation, you're going to museums, heck, when you're sitting at restaurants and they're all so close together, like how do they sit these little tiny tables and 4 people are eating there? They find a way. And that's one of those things. You have to realize you're not going to have a lot of personal space when you're here. I know for some people, that's a mental thing that really is tough. So if you are having a tough time, you are getting overwhelmed, like here in Genoa, they have the Carucci, these little pathways, these little tiny maze-like streets you go to. And some people get very claustrophobic and kind of freak out because in the U.S. we're used to those big open spaces, right? 3-car garage. Here they name a garage. Go in and find a big piazza where there's plenty of space. Go find a park where you can kind of get some space. That's going to help you out mentally to kind of like okay, I'm doing better. Because when you're getting overwhelmed with all the tourists in Munich, go to the English garden and get away from it all. Another mental effect I see.
I gotta be honest, this visual, what he's showing, it is so beautiful. Oh my word. It's all these sights that she's showing, it's just breathtaking. I digress, but I can't help myself but think. But when he said Americans like they're in this big bubble, I'm like, are you talking about the America that I'm living in? Because Americans to me, they're always up in your face. Maybe I'm living. Yeah, I don't see anything about personal bubble. They'll tell you personal bubble, yes, but they don't. Nobody seems to abide by that. The restaurants are crammed, the trains are crammed, the buses are crammed, the don't even have much space in the plane. They don't even really have leg room. When you think about it, so I'm like, that's interesting. That to me is like, no. So they'll fit right in if that's the case. An American will fit right in the European region with sitting close to somebody, being up and talking to somebody when nobody wanted to. Yeah, close, sitting. Because I'll be in the bus and there's so many space in the bus to sit and empty seats, and a person will come right beside me. And in my head, I'm like, not that I'm traveling in a bus, but I'm just telling that's how I see it. It's just, yeah. So that one, I think an American would fit right in Europe. I don't think that will mess up an American in Europe at all.
Hit people is museum burnout. The thing is, when you come to Europe, you're so excited. I want to see all these churches and squares and museums and towns and stuff. Woo! But after a while, it's like sometimes it feels like the towns blur together. Like, oh, we saw the church, the museum, the square, and the town hall. Church, museum, square, town hall. Church, museum, square, town hall. And it just starts going by. And then you're trying to remember. You remember that one church that had that altar? It gets hard sometimes. And there's actually a mental thing with it where you get kind of burned out. So to try to fight off that kind of museum burnout, what I recommend is find different activities to do. Don't just do the museum, church, square. Do a cooking class and do an art class. I know Jocelyn and Caleb, they literally were painting Notre Dame on the Seine for a thing. Liam and I, we were making macarons together. You go places, you take these classes. It helps kind of change up your mental attitude. We're in Sevilla. We went to Isla Magica, the amusement park there, just to give our brains kind of a reset so we didn't have that burnout of, another museum and square, another church. Because that does happen. And that's not just American tourists. That happens to a lot of tourists when you travel around. And if I think about burnout, I think there's one, if you're someone that doesn't usually speak foreign languages, but you're trying to speak it, like I'm here in Italy, I speak Italian, and I don't get a chance to speak Italian back in the US. So I'm really like, I want to speak Italian. So I'm speaking Italian to everybody. But by the end of the day, the mental burnout from speaking Italian so much after having not spoken for like a year, it really does hit you. Like, it sounds silly, but that's one of those things when you're speaking a foreign language you're not used to, it can wear you down. So just be aware of that. If you're like, oh man, I'm using my Spanish in Spain, but why am I so tired mentally? Well, it's because you're using parts your brain you haven't used for a while.
That's true.
You're feeling worn out from the speaking, the mental side of it. There's also like the physical worn outness because you're walking so much. You're doing.
So I get where he's coming from when it comes on to being burnt out, going from one cathedral to the next, from one museum to the next. I don't think that's the best way when you're a tourist in another country. I don't think that's the best way to explore a place because you're not going to get much out of it. It's not going to resonate with it. It's not going to stay. It's that, to me, my personal opinion, and from what he's saying, I'm in agreement with it, as you can see. Because if you're running from one to another, you don't get to appreciate what you're seeing, and it don't burn in your memory the way it should when you're just jumping from one to the next. So yeah, you can burn out in that way. And to me, I think it's a waste if you're trying to travel and enjoy somewhere and just running from one place to the next, from one place to the next, and not getting to relax, take it in all in, and find different sites or places to go to just enjoy and not so taking so much pictures, but take a few pictures, but just bask in the moment, in where you are, and just just appreciate where you are and just take in the scenery for what it is without pulling out a camera, and just be in that zone, if you guys get what I'm saying. I think it's better that way, and you won't be burnt out And like you said, yeah, if you're trying to learn a new language, you don't want to get frustrated and flustered and burn out to just try, because it's not something that you're used to, and it comes over time. And if you're not really using it frequently, you will get a little burnt out or a little frustrated, or you're thinking more, and you travel to enjoy and relax. You know what I mean? So yeah, the constant walking, pace yourself. That's the word I'm looking for. Pace yourself and enjoy the moment.
For instance, you're carrying those bags. You have so many more stairs you're going up to.
Yeah.
No elevator. And I got 5 floors with my suitcases. That kind of physical wearing you out does happen
wear
too.
and tear.
And you want to be careful, because if you burn yourself out, you wear yourself out, you become more liable to get sick. And a lot of people, they go on vacation, they're doing so much, and they burn themselves out, and then they get sick. The last half of their vacation, they're sitting there coughing, hacking, feeling horrible instead of enjoying their vacation. So make sure you give yourself some time so you don't get worn out, because it's not just jet lag that makes you tired from travel.
That's true.
A couple specific physical ailments or physical things that you should really think about when you're traveling that relate to you, but it might relate to some people. One, if you're a huskier traveler like myself, you might notice if you're walking a lot in the summer and you don't have the right clothes on and it's kind of hot, you might notice a little friction between the legs or in the armpits, and chafing really can become an issue. So I do recommend, if you've ever had chafing, or you're a heavy traveler, or you walk really close to your legs together, you don't want to start a fire, bring like Gold Bond or some kind of cream or powder to help with the chafing. Because if you get chafed in the middle, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're walking like this everywhere around Europe. You look a little silly, and you can't get anywhere very fast. And it's really, really painful. So be aware of that one, because that's one that does pop up in the Husky Traveler Forum. So saying that, see, it's not for all of you, just for some of us, okay? And then I want to talk about something for our female travelers.
That is, I'm not laughing at you guys. But it's true. When the friction between them leg and it could never be a good feeling. And they're walking like something is about to fall, or you're like hot bread is between your two legs. That to me. So yeah, be mindful, or wear something that when it rubs against each other, like the cloth rubs, it's smooth. It's not, it won't let it chafe in no way, shape, or form. Because you can wear stuff that don't allow for chafing to take place. I'm assuming there should be something, or a material, a clothing that you put on that it won't lead to that. Especially, like he said, if you're a husky, but you don't have to be a husky for your leg to chafe either. You know, some people thighs in the inner thighs are very close together, like mine. I'm looking at it, I'm like, mine touch. I don't chafe when I walk, but yeah. And I do a lot of walking for the last couple of months, because you guys know, if you don't know, I took up walking as a way of exercise for me to lose weight. So yeah, that can be an issue. So you gotta be mindful about that. So like I said, it's not just for huskies. It can be for anybody who has that close space between them. So why am I talking? Why are we? Let's continue.
And that is your cycle. When you travel abroad, when you do long distance travel, sometimes your cycle could be interrupted or kind of knocked out of cycle. And so therefore you may think, oh, well, I'm not supposed to have my period during this 2-week vacation, so I'm okay. You never know. It might actually kick it in earlier, or you might miss your period entirely and come home thinking you're pregnant. Believe me, we have had that going to Walgreens at midnight to see if it's if the baby's coming or not, kind of thing. So do be aware of that. So if you're going to be coming, make sure you're bringing, if your tampons, pads, whatever you use, make sure you have that with you. Because yes, you can find it here, but have you ever in your entire life, no matter where you are in the world, when you needed a tampon or you needed a pad, was there a place right next door, right ready with the exact one you wanted? Of course not. So it's best to have those extra with you. I know Jocelyn brings her stuff every single time just in case. So it's something to be aware of, all right? So these are just a few of the physical and mental ailments that Americans, well, actually, let's be honest, all travelers have to deal with when they come here. But I thought it'd be funny to pick on my American friends, because honestly, we are pretty not used to walking this much.
That's true.
Anyway, what are some of the other physical ailments you see hit travelers when they travel? Let us know in the comments below, and I wish you all the best. And I'll say ciao from here in Genoa, Italy.
Ciao. Ciao it is. That's another big one, and that tend to happen to you for real. Your cycle do changes whenever time you travel from one place to the next. Your body just adjusts. It is what it is, because you'll be traveling and say, oh, I can plan this vacation, or I plan this to go this place, because guess what? My period don't come until the end of the month. Listen to what we're talking about. But anyway, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, this is weird. Or then and they're like, but I haven't seen what's up. I'm not supposed to be. That's weird. Yeah. So he's spot on with that, because I've heard of a lot of people, and that has happened to me. So I can speak from experience that do happen when time you travel. It's nothing to panic about. And it's good to know that, yeah, always travel with your stuff, because you just never know, and you don't want to be panicking. And it's the most uncomfortable feeling for a woman not to have what they're used to, because like you said, sometimes you run to the store and what the specific brand that you use and what you want to use is not on the shelf, and it's like it throws your whole mood off. And yeah, want to try and avoid that. But he brought up some good points. So walking, make sure you're bringing the right correct food, and make sure you realize that the bowel movement can be different, because you're getting better, cleaner food in your system. That's just how it is. But it's your island girl, and I'm running out of here. Be good, be kind, be safe. We love you guys to the max, and I'll definitely catch you guys in another video. Don't forget to hit the like and hit the subscribe button. Okay, guys, bye.